Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another session of Dusts of the Past. Last session, after surviving isn't really the word, making it out of Firefinger, the party, after some recovery, some interesting debates and interactions with County, decided to move forward again towards their original goal of Orlando. While moving along that path, they encountered, after a couple days of travel, a strange stone that was floating in the air and looked an awful lot like a heart, to which a voice spoke down from them and invited them up through a portal. After some debate, they all accepted this invitation, revealing a certain someone named Constellation who had cast it. Now, let's go back a certain amount of years. Zinc. The silver flame pushes you.
Recording in progress.
Oh Lord.
Did it stop? I hope it stopped.
It stopped. All right. Moving back. So the silver flame pushes you through the hallway, whispering in your ear, "Come, little angel, we must move. It's dangerous out here."
The angel doesn't resist, just kind of walking, not quite in stride with the silver flame. That would be blasphemous, but enough to keep up, never to fall behind.
Follow them to a place that is simultaneously more familiar and less familiar than any other location you know. A large chamber that is filled with shelves and tools, instruments, sharp objects. In the middle, there is a table that has manacles attached to it. And you can still see the blood from the last person who you released to go into the beyond, the secrets you gave to the silver flame. The silver flame smiles, revealing their pointed teeth, and points towards a large chest in the corner and says, "Now, angel, you should go there. I will protect you. You will be safe in there. There are some people who have thought they could take down the silver flame. I will kill them all, but you'll be safe in there."
The angel nods slowly. If there was ever a flicker of trepidation, it's long since gone. And they just move as if counting their steps over to the chest and wait.
The silver flame follows behind you, making sure that you stay there. And then you hear a sudden noise. Turning around, you see the most intriguing and beautiful woman you've ever seen. She has a long pair of antlers twisting out of the sides of her head. Her hair is long and brown, going back into these braids, and her hair is twisted with live vines and flowers. She is holding a wooden staff, and her outfit is simple and dark green.
The angel cocks their head. They wonder if this is another god. Here, standing with the image of a soul as bright as alien flowers blooming in the springtime. They've never seen flowers like this before.
Her face has this serene beauty to it. Again, that then changes as it twists in anger. As she takes that staff and, without the silver flame seeming to notice, swings it directly towards its head, towards their head. The silver flame notices just in time to duck and roll out of the way, then looks back, pointed teeth bared in a grin, and lets out a laugh. And he says, "So this is who they send to kill me. Pathetic." Those words don't register in the mind, though. And the woman doesn't respond. She just lets out a small snarl as she steps forward, swinging once again, over and over again. The silver flame dodges back, and then in a break snarls and then lunges towards this woman. He's unarmed. They're unarmed right now, but they're gone. They don't need to be armed. As they lunge towards this woman, she moves with the blow, swinging them around. Then the silver flame swings at her again, and she ducks. Then again, and this time she takes the blow, letting out a slight release of air as it hits her shoulder. And you can see, as she does that, at the same time as the blow hits into her shoulder, she hits the silver flame's leg with her staff. The silver flame stumbles back, trying to maintain the ground, but she starts swinging faster and faster, faster than your eyes can follow, blow after blow. And the silver flame tries to block them, but you can even see the slight winces every time the staff connects with the forearm. Until, in a sudden movement, the silver flame is knocked to the ground. The green light of energy twists down from her staff, and the bottom forms into a spear point made of hardened wood, that she slams through the silver flame's chest. Blood fills the silver flame's mouth. And at first you think they're choking, but then you recognize that they're laughing. And the silver flame stops moving, stops breathing, stops living, with a smile on their face.
The angel stands there for a long second, or maybe no time at all, waiting for the flame to get back up, to start burning again like it always has, like it always does. But when it doesn't, when this unavoidable truth that they've seen so many times before finally starts to settle, they freeze where they stand, their eyes like locked on that corpse. There's nothing on their face. There's everything on their face. In the silence that rings after that laugh has stopped ringing out, the angel makes a sound. Not a scream, that would be too human. The pattern of feathers inked into their skin crawls across and up over their neck, across their face, as they raise 3 fingers and press them against the middle of their forehead almost desperately, but nothing happens. Nothing happens, and a god is dying as a man's lies are wiped away to expose the ugliness beneath, and there's nothing to protect them anymore, nothing to forgive them anymore, and then the child is gone. Nothing but a silver shell with nothing painted over top.
The woman walks over to you and then crouches down as there's nothing there at all. And she says, "My name is Jakila. You are free now. You're safe."
The not angel says nothing. It's like they didn't hear.
And that scene, that memory ceases to exist. Back to the current time. You're all standing on the steps of this floating stone moat. Now that you're here, you can see that up above what looked to be parts of the heart is a petrified tree, and there are roots that are coming out of the stone that looked to be like veins, but they're still red dripping from it. But now that you're closer, you can see that it's not a bright crimson of blood, but more of a rusty color coming from some patches of rock. You are standing
Like
on
it.
this staircase, and then all of you are there, and then at the entryway to this cave that leads inside, the staircase goes up on top, is where this man, Kamakami, is standing.
And we're all standing here. We're all standing here.
Except for Zaka, yep.
Okay. There's an audible thud from beside you as the constellation falls to one knee. You see black hair, Marcius's hair turn white, and rabbit ears turn into antlers, and gray scarred skin turn dark and flowered, almost too fast to keep track of, swapping back and swapping out. And every single version of all these eyes that you've come to know shines with a shock, too close to awe, really, to distinguish from horror. And the body doesn't settle for a long moment, but when it does, kneeling on the ground is a scrawny child with pure white eyes and skin that almost glows. Beneath their clothes, like creeping up over their neck, and from out beneath their sleeves, you can see dark patterns of feathers on their skin. And they press their last 3 fingers to their forehead reverentially and say nothing.
Kamakani smiles, his teeth pointed, and he says, "At last, my angel has returned to me. I knew you would."
Your angel? That's a child.
Not really liking the tone you're taking.
He looks up to you, and then he grins, and he says, "Angel, why don't you tell me who your companions are?"
The angel stands. They turn their eyes across everyone in a pretty monotone voice, completely instantly, without hesitation. They say, "They're trying to lift the death curse, Flame. This one is Div, comes from Syri. This one is Jasper, hails from Sharn. I do not know where Nephis is from yet. I do not know where Caylona is from yet. Both of them are threats. This is Zephyrus, but he is lying about that. He says his name is Brimstone, but it is not."
So many secrets. So many. Let's just see now. Well, new friends of mine, what brings you to the jungle? I'm impressed you've survived this far. And then he gestures out and he says, Now, are you here, as the flame says, to end the death curse? Or do you just enjoy jungle mystics like yourself?
We are here to help people.
Div doesn't remember.
Ah, I see. How predictably naive. And he looks at you, Div, and there is something deeply, deeply wrong about that expression. Far more wrong than anyone or anything you've ever seen before. Except for something scratches at the back of your mind. You can't quite identify it. You know you've seen something similar to this before, so feeling. You can't quite reach it. Can't quite unfog your mind.
Div kind of clenches his jaw shut even further somehow as he grips his mace and shield harder and steps protect in front of the rest of the party, but especially Zinc.
Oh, I wouldn't get between me and my angel. See, we're on friendly terms right now. You've protected them. I've been without my angel for some time now. So I'm in your gratitude for now. I suggest you don't change that. Can we agree?
I think I am good where I am.
Oh, Angel, could you please inform this little creature, Div, you said, where you would prefer to be?
The angel looks confused, almost like they don't understand the question. They say, there is nowhere else to be. There is never anywhere else to be. Flame, I'm yours.
Kamakani just smiles at you there as he just lifts one finger and gestures towards the flame to come. Towards this child, I should say.
The angel rises, drops their hand from their face and moves over towards him. Like they're counting the steps.
Div follows them. He doesn't get between them, but he follows them.
Where are both of you going? That's not what we're supposed to be doing here. We stopped here. We need to go back out there and lift the curse.
I am here to help people, Jasper. Everyone.
What
Trust
does
me.
Jasper, you said that's your name.
Yes, that's who I am.
Now you
And
have to forgive a wanderer their curiosity, but that is recent, and it points towards you missing arm.
well, I mean, you know my name. I haven't really been formally introduced to who you are. Before I just go blindly trusting somebody, I want to know what I'm getting into.
Well, I suppose it's only fair that I introduce myself. My name is Kamakani, and he performs this extremely flowery bow. And then he says, I'm also a god to some.
By the gods, there's another one.
At that moment, Nephis, you finally remember where you heard that name before. You heard it in a campfire story. A cautionary tale, really. The general was telling you some of his old war stories, warning you not to be overzealous. And he told you this story briefly. Not many people knew much about it. Of an old relish general named Kamakani. Kamakani used to be in the peak of the king's favor, considered one of the best generals Brelan had. Special forces. He'd get in, he'd get it done, he'd get out. People loved it. And there was one mission, and it must have gone wrong for him or something. Nobody really knows the details, but he came back. People just say he got harder and harder to be around. Nobody was really exactly sure, and the details are all vague. But long story short, the king sent him on a suicide mission, and well, at least that's what you were told. Just hopes it would get rid of him, and then it didn't. He turned traitor. Instead of supporting relish interests, started exploiting with all these things. You've heard, like, you're not really sure, nobody's exactly sure what it was. Those rumors are vague, and only that really high ups get to even hear those. But whatever it is, people are always extremely cautious. And that's one of the warning tales of pirate soldiers. Don't become a Kamakani, don't turn. Don't fall like he did.
Remembering this kind of shakes Nephis up a little bit. It's been a while since she thought about the general and like that part of her whole time in the army and stuff. And Nephis is just like struck with this very strong fear. And I'm gonna start looking for a way out as subtly as I possibly can. But I'm gonna try really hard not to draw attention to myself as I do.
As you look around, you notice that you are several hundred feet up in the air, but there's nothing underneath you. You're just floating above, beneath you, canopy, in the open marsh of the Albani Basin. And as you kind of get nervous and take a half step back, you swear that Kamakani looks directly into your eyes and just smiles a little bit more before looking back towards everyone else. And he says, well, your goal of ending the death case is naive at best. I think we might be helpful to one another. I could share a little bit of what I know if you share what you do. What you do. My angel will report to me, of course, but you see, even the best angels get its details. So please, enlighten me. Not pretend
Not sure we're in the sharing mood at the moment.
I don't really know a whole lot. I was told that there was a curse we needed to go end. I'm here to help out a friend that hopefully ends up helping out more people.
friend. And who might this friend be?
Nobody really important, just an old family friend.
None of your business.
That's not the question.
Sindra Sylvain. She's a merchant in Sharn. A retired adventurer. She died here years ago.
I've heard that name.
That's what I said. Old family friend.
So he smiles at you all and he says, so you're here to end with a death curse, are you? And you know nothing else about it. Nothing at all?
I don't know a lot of things. Just kind
That's
of
clear.
following the other people, trying to help as best I can.
What do you know of it?
A good question. You're not as stupid as you look. You see, the death curse is a phenomenon, necromantic one, produced by incredible magic, beyond anything that you children could comprehend. You see, it blocks the force of the life that can bring you back from resurrection, can bring you back from the brink of death. It interferes with it. Somewhere it places a block, an interference between a soul's journey to the planes beyond, and pulls it hurtling back, reminds it of what it knows. It's died. Severs the connection it had to its plate. As it slowly fades away again, it goes somewhere different this time. Does that satisfy your curiosity?
Sounds like you're not that big a fan of it.
He smiles and he says, I'm an artist that respects another master's work. I'm a scholar. However, I think there's much to be learned about this death curse. And if all we do is simply stop it, well, we will have failed to learn what caused it in the first place. It would in fact be just a shame.
Not if it risks the lives of people that we care about and those that it's harmed.
Something in his eyes flashes. And he says, you are short-sighted, you foolish little mortal. You do not understand how these things work. You do not understand. You know what? You don't know what loss. You don't know what goes on. You don't know what needs to be done. And then, sorry. And he brushes his braid behind his shoulder. Sometimes stupidity irks me.
I only know what I'm told, and why? Why should I listen to you? If you're gonna stand there and
you freeze. Actually, you're gonna make me a wisdom saving throw, is what you're gonna do.
Twelve.
You go to speak and your entire body stops moving. You cannot move it. You're completely paralyzed.
Zephyrus's swords
We've
are
got
out.
the pleasantry out of the way. The rest of us can have a pleasant conversation.
Not sure it's going to be as pleasant as you think.
It's been going well so far, other than one idiot.
I don't appreciate you calling my friend an idiot. It's not making
I don't
good
appreciate
first
your
impressions.
ignorance in regards to your friend's intelligence. There are things we all don't appreciate, but can we just move past them? Or is this going to turn south?
Suppose that entirely depends.
Yes, it does. On how well you decide you'd like to listen to me. I invited you here. You're standing on my home. I'm in control. And I suggest you do not question me.
Hmm.
Jasper, you're gonna get to make that save a couple more times if you want to try. Just like roll like 3 for me. And put it in the-
19, 11, 3. Progressively got worse.
None of those are gonna make it.
19 does not make it.
Nope.
Cool. What am I fighting against?
You are trying, so in your mind as you go to speak, you know, this like anger wells up at this creature, and you're frozen. Just all of a sudden you cannot move. It's like your brain and your mind has been pushed into a tiny corner, and now every part of your body feels like when you wake up in the morning and you go to stretch.
Also, if the save is higher than 20, I can't physically make it.
So far.
It's if you roll in that 20, you'll succeed on the save no matter what.
Oh, cool.
But those rolls will stick for now. So right now you feel basically like a prisoner, like you're in the back seat of your own mind. You have no control.
I don't like this.
And then your body starts walking towards Kamakani.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. No. What's going on? I'd like answers.
And you walk into this cave, or at least that's where Jasper starts going behind. And then Kamakani just smiles and says, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Can I go get him? Zephyrus is gonna like keep his eyes on Kamakani and like be like Jasper. He's gonna walk over, like tap him on the shoulder, like try to pull him back.
Jasper is completely unresponsive. Eyes totally glazed over, walking really stiff. When you look into this, to the inside of this cave, and it's fairly easy to see from where all of you are, you can see that it slopes downwards towards where Kamakani is standing. So, and there's a bunch of water in the middle that comes out in slow streams that have carved their way through the rock and then go down and drip to the bottom. And Kamakani is standing across these streams right now. There are a couple roots that have gone through the center of these chambers and have shoved down. Inside, you see that there are shelves full of books and scrolls and maps. And there is a table in the center as well. And there are some other chambers that you can vaguely make out are there, but you can't actually see into them with them.
Could I summon my arms of the astral self?
You can.
Cool. I'm gonna do that. And I'm gonna turn to Kamakani and like give him back.
I've given him something better, and you want him back. How ridiculously ignorant of you. What has he ever given you? What has he ever done for you? Some fool from Sean? Is he naive as the rest?
He's a friend. He's a friend who brings joy to wherever. He's a positive influence.
What a disgusting waste of time. Caylona,
Yeah.
you that line when Kamakani talks about asks what has he ever done for you, memory comes into your head, and it's your own memory. There's nothing mystical about it. But when a certain someone said something very similar, and you hear his voice in your mind, and he says, Nasha, who has never done anything for you. They left you to die, but I took you in. I saved you. You will find nothing out there.
Kaylona's eyes are going to start to glow, and just like as her emotional reaction to that arises, because there's a lot of tension in there from that, and she's going to instantly reach out to Connie and ask like what she needs to do to like make the situation better, because she genuinely like can't think of anything. She just feels powerless.
You reach out to Connie, and all you hear in response is crying.
Okay, so her response to that is she doesn't know what to do. So she's just gonna start talking to Kamakani, like just mouthlessly. Not mouthlessly, but like endlessly. So she's just talking kind of fast and trying to take up a lot of space. So he's just looking at her a lot. And she's like, she looks at him and she says, okay, so you know a lot. I trust that you know a lot because obviously we can see that you have some power that we don't fully understand. You told us that if we told you what we knew, then you would tell us. You haven't told us very much. I think I'd be willing to help if you told me a little bit more.
He pauses and he looks towards you and he says, Hello, what brother? What is it you are seeking to know?
She pauses and then says, I'm seeking to know why you think it's so important that we understand the death curse. Is there something that you understand about it that we're missing? Something that we should know?
Like a great deal of things. But here's my question for you. Why do you seek to end something you don't understand anything about?
Caylona just kind of pauses and then she says, I don't know if I seek to end it so much as maybe in ending it, I come to understand why it is the way that it is, like why it came to be. So maybe we have the same goal after all.
Perhaps we do. And as he looks at you, he strokes his chin in curiosity instead of outright malice, like he's looked at everyone else. And he says, you, and then he cocks his head to the side and his eyes flash for a second. And I need you to make a charisma saving throw.
A wisdom saving throw?
Charisma.
Charisma? Oh. Such. I keep dropping my dice. Sorry. They like to roll a lot. This is no bueno. Okay. Ha, 7.
You feel something enter into your mind and then just shuffle through it and leave. And he says, see, I don't think we'd have the same goal overall. But you do seem like you respect desire and passion. I can work and understand that better than hopeless ideology, ignorant heroism, unnecessary, really.
She looks at him and she says, okay, so if you understand me a little bit better, then could you maybe let my friend go for a second and then take me instead if he's not as useful to you?
See, you still didn't answer me my original question. Why is he your friend? What has he ever done for you?
Her eyes start like, not like glowing, but they just like flash a little bit and you see her jaw clench. And she says, he's been by my side a lot more than anyone else has. And he barely knows me.
Hasn't it? See, you've experienced a little bit more. Some of your other friends have. You don't reek as much ignorance. The stench is still thick on you, of course, but less so.
Okay, sorry, what did you say? What was the last part?
The stench is still thick on you, but less so. Very well. Jasper, you're free.
She just kind of, she bows a little bit when he does this, just like as a sign of respect, because she can tell that it's something that he would appreciate.
Did Jasper notice everything that went on?
You heard it, yes. So your
Okay.
mind is still just the same. Like nothing changed about your mind. You just had zero control over your body.
Got it. I hate those moments. Now, was that necessary? I was trying to have a civil conversation and you yelled at me first.
I believe I gave you a warning once. And he doesn't look at you as he says this. About remaining silent. Angel. And he pulls out a dagger and hands it to you. Would you please remind him? You don't need to do anything yet, but let him know. I expect silence from the ignorance.
How far away is Jasper?
Jasper is about 15 feet away. Jasper, you are standing knee deep in water.
Gross, my shoes are all wet.
The angel takes the dagger, spins it between their fingers, like a musician might begin with a little trick before their circus act, and then is gonna like race over to you super quick. And do I have to make it to hit?
No.
The angel like just not deep enough to cause like damage, but plenty deep enough to hurt, to sting a lot.
As you
Pulls
go
the dagger.
forward, you know, like your dagger's like in less than an inch away from Jasper. And Kamakani says, you can pause.
The angel stops instantly.
Unless he speaks. Is that clear? You may know it. He looks towards you, Jasper.
Jasper just looks into the angel's eyes and mouths the words, "You don't have to do this. He doesn't have to control you."
The angel just looks like they didn't even see.
Jasper doesn't stop staring into the angel's eyes. Whether they're looking back into Jasper's eyes or focusing on a target, Jasper just doesn't give up hope that there are people in there that care more than what Kamakani's trying to control.
He turns back, having considered that situation resolved. And Div, you were standing next to him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He turns toward you, and then after Caylona bows, he says, "What about you? You seem to enjoy remaining silent. That's a quality I can respect."
What about me?
You are going to stay with my angel, you say?
Yes, I will.
Very well. I suppose I can allow that. And then he leans forward and he just whispers in your ear, your ear. And he says, "But be aware that if you misbehave, the punishment won't fall on you." And then he looks pointedly at the angel holding the knife, and then it's back.
Jasper's going to try something really stupid. And he's going to look into the angel's eyes, mouth the words, "I'm sorry," and wink. The angel, you need to make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, I'm making a wisdom save. Here we go. Gotta bring up my wins. Maybe. Please load. There we go. I got a 13.
That just beats it. You know that you were trying to, Jasper attempted to charm you.
The angel was unbothered. It wasn't an order from the flame. It wasn't something that fell within the guidelines of what they're supposed to do, so it doesn't matter. Why would it?
Kamakani stands and then he looks towards you, Nephis, and then grins again and says, "Why so nervous? I'm afraid I'm going to kill you." Not yet.
I'm not necessarily afraid of you killing me, especially now that I see you can do things that honestly are much worse. Is this where you've been all this time?
He blinks. For the first time, one of you seems to have caught him off guard. He takes a half step back. And then says, "You're a soldier." Yeah.
Yes, I am. I guess we're similar in that way.
Yes. We share knowledge that sometimes unpleasant things need to be done to get to the final goal. Sometimes you need to strike the final blow when no one else will.
Of course, that's the way of war. That's the way of life.
Indeed it is.
But another pretty large part of war, I think, is loyalty, at least in my experience. Not that I've ever been especially good at that, but it's interesting to me that from what I know about you, that isn't something that you value.
Loyalty means everything to me. And he takes a step forward, kind of brushing aside Caylona, who's in front of him, towards you, Nephis. And he says, I am loyal to one group alone. That fool of a king was never that group. He never has been, and he never will be. He thought I was so loyal to him, this little sycophant, little soldier, that he would get everything done. No. Loyal to the dreaming, and dreaming alone. We have one goal, to purge this world from darkness. And then he takes a step inside and gestures towards all of you in very clear command. He says, follow me.
The
Caylona
most
follows.
oh. Yeah, so does the angel. Most recent order overrides the last one.
Jasper, you're already in there. Angel, you are as well too. You're
Oh,
already-
cool. Never mind. I'm chilling.
Yeah,
I got
you're-
a knife.
Got a knife.
A knife and a big beefy half orc
Yeah.
praying for his life.
I'll follow. I don't care. I'll follow.
Dave Zephyrus.
Div
So-
just moves to be close to the angel again.
He
Nephis-
doesn't seem
As
to notice-
Nephis. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go.
I was just gonna say, as Nephis walks, she's going to try to make eye contact with Zephyrus and kind of like with her eyes be like, let's just go.
Zephyrus is like his eye is glowing bright purple. His arms are very bright, and he looks pissed off. But he's going to like begrudgingly follow. He's not taking his eyes off of Kamakani.
So as you follow him into this chamber, and then you can hear the dripping coming from up above. Up above you can also see that there's where this rain is coming from is where this petrified tree trunk is hollowed, and it goes into the ceiling here. There are also two other chambers that you can't quite see details of, but you can see that they're there off to the back of this chamber. And as he steps forward, he turns towards you. He doesn't seem to have noticed really any of your particular movements or cared. And he says, I used to think, like all you ignorant fools do, that I could save the world, that I could show it light, that I could bring in something different, that it could change, that people could change. Then I found out the truth. You see, everyone is corrupted. The darkness has gone too far. There is no place for us to go. There's no turning back. And so I have to kill everyone. Everyone needs to die. then we can be reset. The light can start over again. Don't you see it's so obvious? You're so worried about saving people. They're corrupted anyway. People look out for themselves. Why do you think we've been at war for the last 100 years over an issue that only the elves remember? No. No. There's no hope for this place. No hope at all. And then he turns and walks off towards the shelf. And opens up a book. It seems that he's almost forgotten that all of you are here. And as he mumbles to himself, and he says, if I can find Soulmonger, I could expand its effects. One fell blow. Like the masterful piece of art that the morning was, on an even grander scale. He showed me the way. He showed me what to do. Now I just have to accomplish the vision. And then he just stands still, staring at a wall. It is obvious to all of you that this man is completely insane. There's no sanity left in there.
I can't speak. I have a child threatening to stab me. Jasper slowly takes a breath, bracing for what's going to happen, and he just utters the words, well, if that's the way you want to see it.
The knife comes down like across your mouth.
Make it to hit.
Oh,
I'll give you advantage because you were already posed and ready to go.
awesome. That's a 1 second. Sorting through my character sheets. 17.
Yeah.
Cool. Do I have to roll damage? I'm not trying to like deal actual lasting damage. I'm just trying to cause pain. Is that a rolled
That still
damage?
deals damage.
Okay. 4 damage.
Ow.
Mechanically, the way that difference would come in is if that blow were to be the difference between knocking Jasper out or making him just having to start to roll death saves. That's the only time that actually would be a distinction.
Noted. Thank you.
Okay, so as you say that, Kamakani suddenly snaps around just as this child slashes across your face, Jasper, and then he grins at you and he says, do you enjoy watching your friends be forced to brutalize you?
I don't enjoy that, but
I'm rolling another to hit.
He just grins.
That will hit 2 damage.
Caylona, you hear Connie. Tell him, show him. I'm here.
Okay, she's gonna try to psychically connect with Kamakani.
Kamakani is just grinning, watching the angel do this, and then you connect with Kamakani. What do you say?
Okay. Caylona's gonna say, please don't hate me for this. And she's just gonna like, if there's a way to like do an image, like project an image of like her in a field with Connie from that moment that she met Connie, then she's going to show him that.
I think technically that's not a thing, but it definitely is now. You can totally do that. And as you do that, his grin drops. His mouth opens wide. And then he just screams at the top of his lungs, clutching the sides of his head as his knees hit the dirt. And as you watch, his skin flakes away. And underneath, still screaming, is the same figure, but with sallow skin stretched taut over the bones. There's holes in his cheeks. Across his hair is gone, just with nothing. His teeth are still pointed. You can see the clothing that he was wearing is worn, and through it you can see that there are patches missing, or you can see ribs, and the skin that is still there is stretched and taut.
Oh.
And then he stands up, and you can hear bones crack, and he sprints into the back chamber, and you see a flash of light, and hear nothing.
Like physically, like he's just gone now?
If you want to go look back there.
Oh,
Caylona's going to run and go look.
I do.
oh boy.
I also want to go look. Also follows.
No. Great. Great.
So you go into this back chamber. Are any of you proficient in Arcana? Out of curiosity.
Me, but I'm alternatively engaged at the moment.
I'm half proficient and I'm also currently engaged in a staring contest with a child that has a knife at me. Yes, half proficient with a +0.
Okay, so the two of you go into this chamber, and it's fairly small, but across the back of it, you see symbols sprawl in a circular pattern across the floor in this complex arcane thing. You're not really sure what to make of it. But Kamkani's not there. He's gone.
Bless. If he's not there, can Caylona run back over to the angel? And is there any way she could also try to connect with the angel psychically?
You can. You are connected.
Okay. Cool. Is there anything in the angel's mind, or is it just blank?
There is quite a lot in the angel's mind. There is an overwhelming cacophony of everything. In this not child's mind, you can hear orders being shouted. You can hear Mirasandra laughing at one of Jasper's jokes. You can see Marcius reaching out to Zephyrus with an eye patch. You can see Miru handing Div a vial of crushed herbs, and Marcius writing sums next to Div, next to a fireplace, and Mirasandra hopscotching around Div as she talks about nothing in particular. You can see a half-elf closing their eyes, whispering, "I'd love you even if you were a dragon." You can see two interchangeable figures turning back and forth from a strong-looking soldier woman. You can see everything at 1,000 miles per hour, and it leans into you as if it's waiting for you to tell it what to do.
Is there like a center to any of this, or is it just like so chaotic that there's like?
Can I ask Caylona to roll like a wisdom something for that?
Like a wisdom check or something?
Yeah,
Sure.
do some wisdom checks for this.
You have some certain advantages when it comes to this field, so you are going to have advantage on this.
I do. Hold on, give me a moment. Okay. Okay. That's not much better. Okay. It's 10, so not much.
You see like as we're sort of trying to wander through this, as you're trying to piece through everything, you think you might see a trapdoor, but it's gone before it's kind of lost to the noises and to the shapes and to the memories before you can really pinpoint it.
Okay. She's just gonna speak into the chaos, and she's gonna ask, "What's your name?"
There's no answer, or rather there's every answer. You hear so many languages and so many sounds and just a noise of complete confusion and desperation. It doesn't know.
You said it was like leaning into Caylona, like waiting for a command.
Mm-hmm. Kind of begging for one.
She like hates herself for this, but she's gonna ask it to show it, like to show her its very center. Like she's just gonna speak into the darkness and say, "Show me who you really are."
You see everything kind of calm a little bit. All those other memories and personalities kind of pushed to the sidelines, like moving paintings on the wall of a rather simple room. It's got a table with manacles in the center and a large chest and a trapdoor in the floor. And there's a body on the table and a child standing over it with a knife, and there's blood everywhere.
Caylona is not afraid of this. She's actually extremely empathetic towards this. And without fear, she just walks towards the child, and she doesn't touch the child, but she just like looks at it and she says, "What are you doing?"
The angel doesn't answer, but there's a pounding from beneath that trapdoor.
She looks at the angel and like sees, I'm assuming that it's like standing extremely still, and just assumes that that's kind of a memory, and walks over to the trapdoor and opens it.
There's a not necessarily a ladder, but just like a downward space. And it's very dark and very colorful, like it's been paved with stained glass.
So it's like not stairs, it's just like a hole kind of a
Yeah.
thing. Okay, Caylona's gonna jump into it.
You don't fall for, or maybe you fall forever, and it doesn't hurt when you land or just float kind of in nothingness. And there's a figure next to you. It's that sort of silver shape, except that it's not. It has, if you look at it from one side of your eye, it almost looks like Marcius, and if you blink, it almost looks like Liru, and if you tilt your head, it looks like Sandra. It's Kamakani, and it's this other figure that you've never seen before. You don't know what to do with, and it's older, and it looks over at you, and it just shakes its head. It says, "I made a wish."
What was your wish?
I wish I had never existed.
Caylona's heart just like breaks at this, like absolutely breaks. Because she understands wanting to wish something like that, but then she could never imagine what it would feel like to actually have it happen. And she doesn't touch the figure, but she just looks at them and she says, well, I don't know if I've met all of you, but the parts of you that I have met, I am very glad that they exist. And then she just like stops for a second, hopefully letting that sink in, knowing it probably won't. And then she says, if I promised you I could keep you safe, would you come to the surface with me?
The figure looks terrified. They say, there's no one left to forgive me.
She just looks at the figure and she kind of wants to ask, but she doesn't know if it'll just trigger more trauma. And so she sits there for a moment, but then she decides it's kind of worth it. And she says, what do you think makes you unforgivable?
The figure shakes its head. It says, if you want to know, go up there. It can't reach me down here. It's quiet.
She just kind of like sits there for a second because she doesn't know what to do. And she understands this feeling of like trying to escape the things around you to the extent of literally withdrawing. And she says, if I go up there and I find out what it is, and I can still say that I'm not afraid of you, will you believe me when I say that I can keep you safe, or I can forgive you, and that there's people who care about you if you come to the surface?
I've heard that so many times before.
But if I do it?
Maybe you'll see another part of me.
She's like, okay. And I don't know if there's a way to get out of there, but she's gonna like look up and try to get out of there somehow, whether it's like jumping or climbing the wall or whatever.
Connie reaches a hand down to you.
Connie? Okay. She's gonna grab the hand
Out.
and let her pull her up.
Then when you come out, I'm taking over here for reasons, Tobin.
Go for it.
You see the figure standing up there is Kamakani.
Like the Kamakani we just saw like dissipate.
That
You're in my head.
Yikes. But Connie's still there, right?
Connie is still standing next to you.
At this point, she understands that she's like partially in her element, but also like not in her element because she's in someone else's brain. And she looks at Connie and she says, do you have any idea of what we should do next?
Connie takes a half step forward, then stops and says, I tried for so many years to tell you the same thing. You never listen. Perhaps I do not know. I thought I did. I think I was wrong.
So is Kamakani just like standing there, like he's not doing anything?
Right now, yes. It seems that you're kind of in this frozen moment.
Can she touch Kamakani?
You reach out and you touch him, and then Kamakani comes to life and then turns towards you, has an extremely different reaction to Connie being physically there than the other Kamakani did, and just ignores it completely and looks at you, and it says, no matter how hard you try, I'm here. And I'm still in control. You can't get rid of me. You don't know how. And then stops moving again.
Caylona is very familiar with this. She's like extremely familiar with people acting this way towards her, and she's assuming that it's part of a memory. And and she touches him again to see if he repeats it or if he says something else.
You see a phantasmal image enter into the room, and Kamakani suddenly goes all the way back. And then you see two ghostly figures in front of you, one of which is very similar to the blank slate who's down in that hole. And they're hovering above it, and in front of them is crouching a woman with long hair and elk horns. And then you see lying on the ground with a phantom spear sticking through his chest is Kamakani. And as the two walk away, you see Kamakani raises his hand, and with a look of concentration on his face, points towards the child. And then something, his body seems to form a little more physically, and then that ghost comes off, and shoots into the child. And then the image fades, and Kamakani is still standing there, laughing.
Is Connie still there, or is Connie gone?
Connie's still there.
She's gonna look at Connie and she's gonna be like, so you kind of possess my body, right? Like you're inside of my brain. How, like I can't get you out of my brain, I don't think, but like how would we get him out of a brain?
Let's see if Connie knows that. He stops, and then he says, what we are is different from what that is. I'm not sure what he's done, but it's unfamiliar, strange. We are each one mind and can communicate. Connie has done something different with mind. So, I'm not sure what.
Mhm. Okay. So in theory, if I were to use psychic whispers and connect to like one or two other people, I don't know how many other people I'm allowed to connect to, but would they also be able to see into the kid's mind or just into mine?
That would be into yours.
Okay. Hmm. Okay. She's gonna like sit there for a long time and think about it a lot because she really doesn't want to leave without figuring this out. But after asking Connie and after talking to the child and talking to Kamakani and seeing kind of what's gone on in this like kid's past and how much trauma there is, she decides to leave and she disconnects.
So the rest of you watch this prolonged something. You can't tell what's going on, but all you see is just Caylona looking at this child. And so what are the physical movements, are, if any, of the child while this connection goes on?
Yeah, probably none.
Standing stock still.
Yeah.
So Caylona, you blink back.
She blinks back and she looks at Div first because like, well, actually no, she's gonna look at all of them because all of them are there right now, right?
Yeah.
She's gonna look at everyone and she's gonna say, this is gonna sound crazy, but I just went into this kid's mind. I think he's possessed. And I don't know how to fix it. Do I need, like, I need your help. Can any of you do anything?
Jasper slowly takes a step back.
The angel takes a step forward.
Jasper just looks at Caylona and shakes his head no. And then thinks for a second. Mouths the words, "I'm sorry," a second time. And winks again. You need to make another wisdom saving throw.
Wisdom save 2, electric boogaloo. Here we go.
Also, I can do something to make it a little extra spicy. I'm
I
gonna spend
got a 10.
Cool. Don't have to spend that point then. You're now charmed by Jasper. Which, I mean, didn't take much in the first place. Jasper's great.
Jasper's incredible.
And
That means I can attack you, correct?
correct, you regard me as a friendly acquaintance.
Cool.
And then after an hour, you know what I did. Jasper takes another step back.
The angel doesn't take a step forward this time.
Jasper just says, "I'm sorry for doing that, but hey, pal, how's it going?"
The angel like cocks their head and waits. Kind of frowns when the voice they're waiting for doesn't come.
Everything okay? Is there something you want to talk about?
Where did he go?
Who?
God.
Well, There's a lot of those. Not 100% confident on where most of them reside. But on a different dimension, in a different plane, I haven't myself seen a god.
I could help you.
How would you do that?
I would make you ready for death.
I'm not ready for that.
The angel doesn't say anything.
Jasper's like desperately looking back and forth between the child and Caylona. Help.
Caylona looks at the child, and in an attempt to like speak its language, she's like, has the god always been physically with you, or is he mentally with you too?
What difference does it make? I don't think there is a difference.
So he is always with you?
The angel smiles, almost dreamily.
I don't.
It all makes
like
sense again.
this. What makes sense?
Everything.
I've never been good with kids. Mm. Well, how about you and I leave this terrible, nasty place and we go look for your god?
He will come back. Don't worry.
Well, when he does, he can come find us. He is a god after all.
The angel nods. They say, usually the spirits aren't so talkative. I don't know why he let you be. It must have been for a reason.
Gods always
you
have
have
their
secrets?
reasons.
I can take them if it would make it easier.
Jasper's mind races at the thought of secrets. And just his thoughts go. And he confidently stands. Well, it's not necessarily anything to hide, but secrets aren't always a bad thing.
Of course not.
Sometimes we keep secrets to keep the ones we hold dearest safe.
And then you can be free of them in this place. The lure looks different. It always looked the same before. But that's okay.
Well,
It all makes sense now.
yeah, things change, and that's a good thing.
Div, you're the only one who I think off the top of your head would know this. Pillar is the plane of death, and specifically undeath. Necromantic energy is a place, a sanction of everything. That is, well, it's the place that people go before they go somewhere else. Stopping ground. So when negative energy is pulled, oftentimes it's pulled from there.
Great. Don't like that.
Can Caylona mentally connect with Div for just a second?
Yeah, you can do that.
Okay. So she's going to connect with you, Div, and she's going to tell you there's a lot of stuff down the hallway that you should probably go and look at. I don't know anything about it. And she's like, also, I don't know if you know any of this about your friend, but, and then she's going to tell him everything that she just like saw in the child's brain. And she was like, how much of that did you already know?
Div gets very quiet and very still, well, even more than he has been this entire time. He just kind of nods at you, Caylona, and he doesn't really respond. And he steps towards the angel. He puts his shield back on his back, but he still holds the mace. He's gripping it so tightly that you think maybe he'll never be able to unfuse his claws from that metal grip. And he very gingerly puts a hand on the angel's shoulder. Sorry. And he says, we are going to go home now.
Who are you?
A servant of a god. I'm here to help.
I am here to do that too. Maybe we... No, that's all right though. So you are already ready for death. You've forgotten all your secrets already. That's good. Where there's never anywhere to go.
There will be. There's more beyond this place.
I don't go there anymore. I'm special.
Then perhaps until you perhaps you can guide me then instead.
The angel smiles. They say, don't worry. That's what he does, and he'll be back soon.
I am not asking him to. I'm asking you to.
Spirits ask me things all the time. Don't worry. I know how not to believe you. And they smile like they're reassuring you. It'll be over soon. And then you can rest. Then you can go somewhere better. I know of all of these better places. It'll be very nice, I promise.
And yet, you do not want to go there? To these better places?
I want to stay here. He'll be proud of me.
Has he ever been before?
He's proud of me often. I do a very, very good job.
Does he ever lie to you?
I don't understand.
Even the gods lie. Does he ever lie to you?
What would there be to lie about?
Many things. To help protect us. My god lies. I'm sure yours does as well. They are often as mortal as we are, if only in spirit. But that is okay.
What is you mean things that aren't true? I don't work with anything but truth, so it's okay. It's all right. They seem to kind of be like reassuring themselves with that. I know when I'm being told the truth. And they kind of raise that knife. They say, I could make you if you want.
Do you know when you're being lied to?
Yes.
Really?
Their eyes are kind of like pretty wide, still that like silver emptiness. Of course.
But your
Do
god
you?
does not lie.
Not to me.
Why not?
We're past that. It's okay now. It all makes sense.
Well, that is the beauty of the world. Nothing makes sense, and it never will, and it doesn't have to.
We're not in the world anymore. Maybe that's why you haven't moved on yet. You just can't remember. That's okay. Once you realize, you're dead. You're all dead. I usually don't have to explain that. But that's okay.
Jasper looks at the angel and just, what do you mean we're all dead?
It's none of my business how you died. I just get you ready to move on. I already started on you, but I didn't do a very good job. I'm sorry. I could try again.
We're not dead though. Are we? And Jasper kind of just looks around at the group. Did that fall do a lot more than I thought it did? And is this what I have to pay for?
No.
I
Tobin,
assure you all, we are very much alive.
That's good to know.
Tobin,
Yes.
when Jasper says the words, we're not dead, because you are still actively charmed by Jasper. those words resonate to the same level as when you hear a command,
Is when I hear what?
as when you hear a command from the silver flame.
The angel kind of snaps their gaze to you, Jasper, and says, "See, I know when I'm being lied to. See, I know, I can tell. That can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be right. That isn't right. That's not right."
Well, dead people don't really bleed like you just made me do.
Yes, they do.
It's more of a cold blood. This is still very much warm. They don't.
What is cold and warm? You're not making any sense.
They're sensations. Cold is when winter falls and the snow begins to come. That is the closest I can give you to cold. Warm is the embrace of another, the feeling of
Those are all mortal
Not-
things.
which, would I lie to you if I couldn't describe them? Would that be a lie?
Those are mortal things.
Which you are as well, aren't you?
The angel looks very confused. Not, I must have been once.
Well, what say you aren't now?
God, where is he? He should have come back by now. He very rarely leaves me alone this long with spirits.
Well, maybe he's off running some extra errands. How about we go look for him?
I don't go anywhere.
Well,
I just
why
stay
not?
here.
Well, where's the fun in that? You've never seen outside?
There's no outside.
There is. Where do you think we came from?
The mortal.
We're still there. We can.
Why do you sound like him?
Like who?
The silver flame. You maybe. Oh, I see. He sent you.
Yes.
Are you another angel? Maybe you're special too.
I've been known to be both of those things.
I'm of
I-
secrets. Are you of secrets too?
Yes, but you can't tell anybody. That's a secret. Now, God has sent me on a very special mission, and I need your help with it.
Okay.
There's a death curse that's fallen upon the lands of the mortals. And God isn't very happy about it because it's hurting business. And we need to go out into the mortal planes and try and fix it.
You know the way back?
Yes. And Jasper looks towards where he came from.
Maybe we can see clicks if we go back.
Maybe. But do you promise to help us? God sent all of us.
all of you. That's a lot.
It's a very important mission.
Okay. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Oh, I can do that well enough on my own. And Jasper reaches a hand out. So, will you help?
Okay. And the angel takes your hand.
Great. And then Jasper walks towards the exit.
The angel walks next to you, their steps slightly out of sync. You can't match the stride of God. That would be blasphemous.
Exactly.
As you walk outside, you see the jungle spread out before you. There's an obvious gap in the canopy that has where you can see this water. It's a blue-green color. As this part slowly rotates around, you see behind you there are massive mountains all across the back of Cholt that leads into Zendrick as a whole. You're kind of forming a border between Cholt and the rest of Zendrick. You also see that several of those mountains have columns of smoke billowing from them. Something that you've never been able to see as you've never been up this high, and the jungle canopy has blocked your view the rest of the time. And you can see that near one of those mountain ranges near the back, there's another section of trees that's largely missing. You can also see the ocean just barely glistening in the distance.
See? This
It's shifting time, baby. As soon as you step out of that room, sort of in view of this world from above, the child drops away, and long hair and long ears and a flared face replaces it. But it's not smiling for once. Sandra is crying. It's the first time you've ever seen her do that. Div, you too. Or I guess you can't see, but she's never done it before. And she kind of raises her hand to her face and looks confused about what she sees there. She's like, oh?
as Sandra shows, Jasper quickly lets go of her hand and looks at them. What do you remember? Sorry for asking, just there's a lot that's happened.
I don't remember anything. It must have been days. Wait. Why don't I remember anything?
That is a long story, and I'm not sure I'm the one who should tell it. And Jasper kind of shifts towards Div and back in, and he glances back into the room, but not for long.
We are off of Firefinger. Azaka was going to tell me a story. I remember being excited about that. What happened? Jasper, your arm.
Yeah, I got stabbed a couple times, grasped, and I remember falling, and then I remember the ground. That's all I know of what happened there.
That sounds immensely painful. I'm sorry.
Worst pain I've ever experienced.
Maybe I won't write that down then. I mean,
Every hero has to fall at some point, am I right?
I suppose we could make it sound very dramatic. She's starting to sound more like herself.
Now, let's make our way back to Azaka. How do we get down from here?
That's a great question. You see no method.
I can get down, but
Did you grow wings when I wasn't paying attention there, Zephyrus?
No, but he
No.
did get extra arms, and that doesn't feel fair.
he still has them.
Melisandre like looks over the side of the heart. She sighs and shakes her head. She says, I wish I had my wings. You people and your stories, they really lock you in a body sometimes. Oh well. I suppose we'll just have to make do. What's inside there? Maybe there's something in there that can help us.
There's, well,
No.
maybe, no.
Eh,
Oh, it's just a cave. What could go wrong?
Lots of things. Caves can hold terrible, terrible monsters.
While all of this is happening, Div never left the room.
That's good to know.
And he's just kind of frozen where he was standing, at least for a few minutes, before he kind of shakes himself out of it. And can I go investigate the back room?
Yeah. Are you proficient in Arcana?
No. I'm flattered you would ask.
So
I have a
looking at
+1.
these shapes and symbols, they're somewhat unfamiliar to you. But as you continue to think, mull over what Caylona told you, what you've seen, I would love for you to make me a religion check.
Religion.
A religion check. That's not great. Why?
I'll give you advantage.
Okay. Please. That's much better. Thank you. That's a dirty 20. Instead of a
Staring at
7.
this circle, recognizing that you don't know necessarily exactly what it is, but there's definitely some arcane power going on with that. Like whatever's going on there, it's intense. And then a memory comes into your head. Discussion that Tetra was having with someone else. She is talking to a scribe who's writing down correspondence, and she says, unable to determine who this new threat is. From Kanath. There's a group calling themselves the Emerald Claw, some type of extremists. They must be led by some sort of lich, creature of other such power. Then you ask her, having no idea what a lich is, what that creature is. And she, with a loud sigh, responds, and she says, a lich is a creature that has thrown its soul away. Something that takes incredible necromantic power. They perform some sort of ritual, place their soul in an object. And in doing, they become immortal. Immortal and soulless. Undead. but intensely powerful, incredibly magical, and incredibly deadly foes. Their control over the arcane is rarely ever matched. In that memory, you realize, thinking about it, knowledge forms in your head, memories are pulled, and you're fairly sure that it is not you who pulls them, but Boldre. And piecing together these pieces of information, looking at Kamakani and the way that that skin flaked away into light, you are able to identify that somehow Kamakani has transformed himself into a lich. And not only that, do you think that his piece of soul, well, you've met that piece of soul before. Its name is also Kamakani. And it's with the Constellation. We'll stop there for today, everybody.
Well, that was unexpected and interesting for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. That was a lot of things that occurred.
no.
Those were so many occurrences that certainly happened on this fine night.
We'll see y'all,
What?
we'll see y'all next week.
No, we won't, because I'll be dead. I'll have died by next week.
Have fun piecing through that nonsense. Good luck.